What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come talk some Sixers with us. Let's go. Let's go. This ain't the fuck like oh, this game he stinks.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
It's Harden week. Welcome in, everybody. This is Monday Morning Quarterback, only on A2D Radio. Every Monday, we are brought to you by FanUp, and FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. Daily NBA contests when NFL season's around, daily NFL contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. That's a $50 value. You can find FanUp right on the Apple Store. Go download the app. It's so interactive. You'll love it. Listen, I'm on it all the time. There's so many things you can do, and you can challenge people. Come challenge us. Come challenge me. Love to dabble. I always hit accept. So FanUp, go download the app right on the Apple Store. That's Ryan Brutto. I'm Tom Arnone. The family out there, we got plenty to talk about because, like I opened, it is Harden week. So we'll talk the NBA buyout targets and rumors, and we'll talk Sixers, biggest concerns moving forward right now. All right. I mean, we know we got a big splash in return for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond. But now we're going to talk, I've talked a lot of positives, so I guess we're going to talk some concerns. And that ties into our poll question, which is brought to you by BetUS. And BetUS is a leading online sportsbook who has been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link right in our description on Facebook, pin right in our comments over on YouTube, and you get a 125% sign-up bonus. People, easy, 125% sign-up bonus. Go to BetUS, but use our link to get the 125% sign-up bonus, family. Do it for us, and we're giving back to you. Our poll question for tonight's show is the current Sixers bench should be a concern heading into the playoffs. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know everywhere we're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and everywhere you get your podcasts as well, because we're there. Make sure you download, make sure you follow us, and make sure you 5-star review it, baby. And bigger than all of it, make sure you answer the poll question. Comment in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you agree or disagree that the current Sixers bench should be a concern heading into the playoffs. Me and Ryan, we talked about it for a couple minutes before we came on. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they couldn't use another wing player. I'm not going to tell you that they maybe can't use another big in some fashion. But I'm going to tell you is it shouldn't be a concern. Like, I look at this basketball team when we traded for James Harden, it was, okay, we're top heavy. Okay? We're extremely top heavy. And any of these guys could help you, but they're really getting back like a guy, any big you're getting back is like almost like what Paul Millsap will bring you. Okay? Now, could you use another 2-guard, a combo guard, right? Gary Harris is a name that I really like, but not a huge concern if they don't, because come playoff time, I got guys logging 40 minutes a night, right? That's what I got guys. That's what's going to happen come playoff time. That's what should happen when you have a roster that's top loaded. When you have a roster, you're going to be running out James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. I mean, those guys got to play 40 minutes in the playoffs. All right. So say they play 38. Okay. Say they play 38. That's only 10 minutes of time I have to find, right? It's 10 minutes of time. So I look at the likes of Shake Milton, who we were really pressing for the buyout market because we didn't think he was coming back this year, and I'm not crowning him, but that's sort of what you're getting in the buyout game, family, just to let people know. Like, we're not getting a star in the buyout market. right? We're getting a guy that can come in and give us some productive minutes for 10, 15 minutes a night, right? Maybe in the regular season a little bit more than that. But in the postseason, everything shrinks. That's why Ben stunk, because the game shrunk. It became half court, right? So everything shrinks. It's the up tempo is not as much at times, like the up and downs, right? And guys log 40. So you're going to play other teams that guys are logging 40 minutes, right? So you look at that. Can I get enough off of my bench just to give me something, right? And I think when you look at the bench right now, I don't know where you're going to get that's much better, but you look at Shake, you look at Niang, you look at probably maybe Matisse, right? And you look at Millsap, like, it's not a terrible four. They're not a terrible four names. And some people might tell me Furkan. I mean, good. When he's making shots, yeah, sure. When he's not, then, you just, bell rings, get him on out. All right, get him on out of the game. But so you're not going to add on anything that's going to make us, like, tremendously better, right? So you either think in your head coming into this poll question that they're either finals contenders or they're not, right? Because no buyout with the names that surface put you over the top. They don't put you over the top. You either believe that that's how good this basketball team is, or you don't, right? Makes sense? That's how I feel about it. And I look at the addition of James Harden and my four guys that are going to be able to run out here nightly, and Tyrese, James, Tobias, and Joel, and say, do I believe that those four can get me to an NBA Finals? And I do. I truly do. That's a lot of firepower just with those guys. So now can my other firepower give me just enough? Right? Shake Milton's a guy who walks around and can give you double digits, right? Can absolutely give you double digits. And that's what you're missing on your bench this entire season, because Furkan was running those minutes. So that's almost like a buyout that we didn't think we were getting back, Rye. That's why I'm not, like, screaming now. Like, my scream was for Ben to be gone. Right. And if Ben wasn't going to be gone, then me and you talked a lot about, like, okay, you're going to need to get creative in buyouts. You're going to need to get some guys here. Right. Well, I got two things. I got Ben going. I got Harden back. Right. And I got Ben going, and I got Shake back. So I really just went, I got three guys now that can handle the basketball. Right. So now I went from having one guy in Tyrese to three guys who can handle the basketball. So that position isn't as much of a must for me. Because where's the fourth guy even factoring into those minutes? The only thing people can sell me is maybe another wing guy, right? Or another big. But, like, that big's not going to be better than the three bigs you have on your roster right now, most likely. The only guy that maybe is Derrick Favors, but he's a little bit older. Like DeAndre Jordan, stop.
No, he can't even move.
Yeah, so there's nothing you're going to get back. Like, you had to part with Andre Drummond to get this deal done. So you're not going to get, like, Andre Drummond rebound production back. But I got Paul Millsap, who's a veteran, who's played in the playoffs before. So, like, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay. I'm not telling you, or the family out there, I'll leave you this. I'm not telling you they can't add on, and they shouldn't add on, right? I'm all about being deeper, okay? But I look at this basketball team with the addition of Harden, and now where did I go to? I ran right to the NBA Finals in my eyes. That's how good this basketball team is. So I believe in that. So that's why I'm not going to say it's like, well, not even a major concern, just should be a concern, right? Like, I mean, you can say, okay, if a guy gets hurt, sure. But all things being equal and guys are healthy, let's go. If you told me this is how I'm running into the postseason right now, Rye, I'm confident. I didn't even see James Harden play a minute here.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, we did our little 5-6 minute pre-show talk like we usually do, and we both talked about it. Like, nobody, and I'll just say for the sake of argument, and like there is more concern for me with the bench, because I look at it and, like, yeah, I'm really excited about James Harden. I think Millsap is going to be able to do a little bit more than some people think. Like, I remember when he was brought in here as part of the trade, people thought, he'll never play a second here. Oh, he's prehistoric. And I get it. Like, I don't look at him as, a big time difference maker for this roster in season or in the postseason. But I do think we kind of look at it, and we're looking at the last handful of weeks to games, obviously, before the Harden trade and even afterwards, kind of in that little period before the All-Star break. And we're looking at, okay, the Furkans, the Miltons, who's still making his way back from injury. He's not 100%. Matisse Thybulle, who's, he's good on defense. He's very good on defense, but he's an offensive liability. And you're kind of like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We need more. But it's like, well, guys, I mean, the biggest reinforcement of them all still is coming. Like we have to factor him in. Like I know it's all about like seeing is believing, and we haven't seen it. We're not going to see it until Friday. But I really think once he's here and the chemistry really starts working, which I don't think is going to be right away. I think you and I both can agree, along with the fam at home, that it might take a couple games for us to see like the final product of like what this is going to truly be as a cohesive unit, between the two. But you look at it and you say, okay, is this like a disastrous bench right now? No. Is it the best bench in the East or in the NBA? Absolutely not. But we look at it in the past, and the one thing I would say that I don't want to say it's a concern, but it's something to keep your eye on, is that the two teams in the finals last year, the Suns and the Bucks, yeah, they had the stars, the Devin Bookers, the Chris Pauls, the Giannis's of the world, and, some role players. But what did they both have in common? Also, they had depth. But so like I look at those two teams and it's like, okay, can the Sixers compete with them? We can, because of our star power and because of how good I think we both, along with a lot of people, think the Harden and Embiid duo is going to be. I think it's all about like comfort factor, right? Like if I gave you like a meter, right? Because we love meters on the show. Like from 1 to 10, what's your comfort meter in this roster right now, Tom? When you talk about like championship contender wise, so like that's the
10.
bar. 1 to 10, what's your comfort meter? 10?
10. I'm not going to run from that.
Okay.
There's four. Like I continue to say, there's 4 guys in this starting lineup that can, any one of them, go for 30 a night. Any one of them, and not many teams can say that. Many teams can say they got 3 guys, right? There's teams out there that can say they have 3 or 2, right? Nobody has that. Nobody has, in my opinion, the firepower that this starting 5 can bring in game in, game out. Like I just don't know who has it. You have 2 guards who can take you off the dribble at any time, right? And then you have the most dominant big man in basketball. I mean, nobody out there is saying that. No, there isn't a team in the country, if we're talking like college basketball, right? There's not a team in the country that can say, hey, I got 2 guards, because what wins in March Madness that's coming up? Hey, do I got great guard play? And then the dominant big man is just always an add-on, right? So I got the best player in basketball who's a big, and I got 2 guards who can take you off the dribble, and then my 4th option becomes a Tobias Harris. My comfort level is a 10. 10, okay. 10.
Okay. And like to your point with like the buyout options, right? Like the name that's being brought up today because, Goran Dragic goes to the Nets. I'm annoyed by that, first off, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
You're not worried about it?
No, I'm not worried about the Nets at all.
At all?
Nope. Not at all.
Really?
I want that to be clear, because I want this to come back after they fall on their face. Not even a little bit. Not even concerned. Give me the Nets. I'll play the Nets in the first round over somebody else. I don't care.
How many games do you think that would go?
Maybe 6. 5. 5, 6.
Wow. I did not expect to hear you say that. Okay.
No, I love it, and I'm out on them. And they got to play 4-on-5 in the postseason, and I can't wait, because everybody tells me KD's going to make up for it, and Kyrie, they're going to make up for Ben. Okay. All right.
How much does your hatred play into this?
8 out of 10. 1 out of 10. An 8. An 8. So my hatred plays a lot into it.
Okay. Well, I respect that, because that's like how I make a lot of decisions with the GM stuff. So that's fine.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I just believe in the basketball gods, and I just believe they will not allow them to win. Okay. I just believe they won't. They won't. They get the biggest fraud of the decade on their basketball team. The biggest fraud of the decade. And everybody says, oh, it's kumbaya. Okay. Harden's got some baggage, sure. Nothing, doesn't even. You can't even get on a plane with Ben Simmons' baggage. You can't even get on a plane. They'll be like, listen, man, there's not a price you can pay to get on this flight. That's
weight
too
limit
heavy.
exceeded. Weight limit exceeded.
Too heavy. Too heavy. Listen, are they talented? They got KD. I get it. Get Kyrie, cool. What else? Seth? Sure. Stop it. Relax. Let's not overweak.
According to some of our comment section, Seth Curry is the greatest, player of all time.
Who's their third option?
We're gonna miss him.
Ben Simmons is their third option. Sixers are better.
Okay. Right.
Sixers are better. Look at who's my third option? Who's my 4th option?
You could argue you could argue we have 2 third options depending on the night.
Yep.
Maxey or Tobias, depends.
Yep.
Is it a Tuesday or is it a Thursday?
Exactly. So you're 4 deep. Who's 4 deep?
In the East or in the NBA?
We'll just stay in the East because we're trying to get out of the East, right? I mean, that's where we got to start at least.
Milwaukee's got 3.
3, yep.
Lopez, I would say Lopez if he's healthy, but he's not. Lopez is very good.
I don't think he's the player he was, but yeah. He doesn't get that many opportunities either, but yeah, he's.
Miami's got Butler, Lowry, Hero, Bam. I'm just talking about I'm not saying they're better. I'm just naming their top 4.
They're 4. Yeah, we're better than that.
We already did Nets. The Cavs, they would have Mobley, Love, Garland's.
We're better.
Yeah, and then LeVert, I guess. And then Chicago would have Vuk, Levine, Lonzo, if healthy, DeRozan.
We're better.
Okay. I don't disagree with that.
I know somebody said the Bulls, and that's the closest the team you can give me, right? Like that's the other team. That's the other team that's 4, that's got 4, but they're not better because they don't have Joel Embiid.
And Embiid. Listen, go look at what Embiid does to Vucevic, and then I'll just stop. I'll just sit back.
Love Vuk. Vuk.
Yeah.
I'm a Lonzo guy.
I'm
a DeRozan guy. The only guy I'm really not is a Levine, but it doesn't mean that team isn't talented, but they don't have the star power. Just in Embiid and Harden alone, they don't have it. And Tyrese Maxey, I'm not overly crowning these guys, but this basketball team is now officially dangerous, and there isn't a team that has 4 guys that can come at you from all different angles. You can never double Joel Embiid. You can't double James Harden now. You're never going to play 4-on-5 basketball, okay? It's just those days are over. So now it's like, hey, watch how much we can score on your ass. And listen, somebody said KD will take you 7. Not if I'm running them Matisse at him all day. I don't know if he's taking me 7. He maybe takes me 6, like I said. Listen, I'm not I'm going to shit on the Nets because of the basketball guys. Right? I don't like anything about what the Brooklyn Nets did. I don't like anything about Kevin Durant anymore. I think he's a little bit of a loser, right? I'm starting to think he's a little bit of a loser, right? Respect is great. Respect what he's done. He's fucking a sniper. I get it, but me and you talk about it on Wednesday. I'm taking Embiid over him. Just that.
No, I hear you. No, I mean, you can make an argument for either one. The biggest thing, too, and I know we have plenty of injury concerns and fears on our end, but I mean, how concerning for Nets fans is it KD's health? You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to be reportedly back after the All-Star break, which is going to be, now, I guess, whenever that happens. But it seems like he's good to go on the shelf. It seems like 3 times a season now.
He's been hurt a lot, right? Over the hand, and not saying we don't have a guy who's been hurt.
Oh, we have a couple guys. Yeah,
I'm not gonna say anything about in terms of that, but I mean, listen, even if he's playing, right, I still believe we're a better basketball team than that. They have 2 guys that can absolutely go off on you. I'm not taking anything away from Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in terms of what they can do. I'm talking about what's around them. We're crowning, the people are crowning, Steph Curry and Andre Drummond and Ben Simmons. Oh my goodness. Cool story. Cool story. Until the guy shoots, it's the same thing. So if he goes to the Nets and he jacked 5 threes up in the first game there, then I'll change my stance on it. I'll change my stance. And then I'll say there's no God. Basketball-wise. Not real life. We don't want to do that.
No. Then the chat will start changing. Will start really getting crazy.
Because we've seen it for how many years? In the postseason, it gets exposed. And he's had guys around him. Let's not shit on the 5 starters that were here before. All right. And Tobias, Jimmy, Joel, JJ. All right. And that loser.
Well, this Goran Dragic thing real quick. And then I want to ask you about the starting 5.
Did Ben ask out yet? Did Ben ask out? All right.
No, he's barely there, so he can't ask out yet.
No, he's going to ask. He's going to say the mental illness again because he's not being a point guard.
Freaking guy. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but the Goran Dragic thing, right? I wasn't really expecting him to go there because they're so guard heavy. That makes me think, because now you have Ben, you have Kyrie, you have Patty, you got rid of Javon Carter, whatever, and now you get Dragic. Dragic, to me, I don't think he goes there unless he knows he's getting significant playing time. which tells me, do they already have plans to run Ben off ball?
Probably.
Which I cannot wait to see that. Listen, this might age terribly. I don't really give a damn because the hatred. Because I know what Ben off ball looks like. Rewind 2019 playoffs when Jimmy Butler was here. Pass it off, go stand in the corner, and sulk. Yeah, I know what that Simmons looks like.
I just said that. I mean, look at this. Let's not overlook what he played with here that year with those four guys. Mm-hmm. And he became a black hole on offense, and it killed us because he would never, to what you're saying, he would never take his shot.
No.
Right? He would never take it. He wouldn't even do an elbow jumper we were begging for. So now the Nets got to deal with that. So unless he starts doing that, you can just count them that they aren't getting to where they want to get to. That's all the point is. And we're better than them. We just are. I don't there's people out there that just aren't buying into the Harden thing fully. And I just don't know how you guys aren't, not you, how guys aren't buying into it. Because this is big time. And it's gonna be fun to watch.
What do you think? Not that I agree with the starting five, but it's just something different that I haven't seen.
You want to go back to that one?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll go back to it in a second. I gotta find it. So Soham says our starting five: James, Thibault, Tobias, George, JoJo, bench Maxey, and Danny. No, I personally don't like because Tobias. I would if I have George and Tobias playing as a starting role, I would flip it. I would play George as the 3 if I had to.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but no. I mean, I want my scores out there early, and I want them to be the guys on the floor closing games out because I got to outscore people. That's the thing that we've ran from here for 4 years now, where it's all been about defense, right? Oh, great defense. Nah, I got to outscore somebody.
It's too slow also.
We have enough defense with Joel Embiid back there.
Yeah. So we were talking, and you opened up by saying, you look at the buyout market and it's pretty dry, right? And I would agree that 95% of the projected buyout market, it's Band-Aid moves. It's guys that you can just fill in, in case, either somebody gets hurt or whatever. There's no big difference makers. I'll give you a name that I think, and I know he's not a popular name because he's kind of become a meme because of the way he, dealt with his contract in the offseason. But by all reports, he's going to be bought out by Houston. I think Dennis Schroder would make a really big difference here off the bench.
Yeah, I wouldn't not take Schroder.
And I'm sure because I've seen arguments
about this. Run Milton at the 2 with my bench lineup, and I'm fine there.
Yeah, and people were saying oh, Ryan, you have plenty of guards, or people. There was an article about it over the weekend.
Well, I mean, we do have 3 that handle the basketball, so you do have essentially enough. But
you could also you can run Schroder and Maxey together. You can run, you know what I'm saying. So Schroder is just that he comes in when Harden's off. You know what I'm saying. Maxey,
Schroder's fine. I mean, it's a fine name. Does it make you better? Sure. But I already think that's why I might disagree, right? I'll take Dennis Schroder in a minute, in a heartbeat, right? Because then I'm running Maxey the 2 with that bench lineup, right? And then I feel okay, I'm probably walking into the 30 from my bench a night, right? I mean, those 2 alone can give me 15 a night per se, right? So I mean, at worst, I'm getting 25 total from my bench, and that's what we talk about needing, right? Around that number. So listen, that just makes you better. And it gives you a better chance to win the title. I'm saying we're NBA Finals contenders, which I think we're going to get there. Now, winning it, you would say, well, Tom, if you got to get in there, you think we're going to win it. I'm not there yet, right? You know what I mean? I'm just getting there, right? So, but I think a move like that can help you reassure that hey, this basketball team is extremely deep at the guard position, and can come at you a lot of ways.
Michael Collins asks, how about Enes Kanter / Enes Freedom for center? To me, Tom, I think I don't know if we've talked about this kind of in our talks, off the show. I think Enes Kanter makes 0 sense for this team because he doesn't play any defense. His defense is literally a liability.
Yeah, I'm not a big Kanter guy, Freedom guy. I'm a big Freedom guy, just not with him. I think you got better bench. I think you got better, smaller bigs here already that can play above the rim. And I'm not crowning any one of these guys, but B-ball Paul in like in a short run can board and do play above the rim in terms of shot blocking a little bit and give you some of that stuff, some of that rim protection stuff. So I mean, I don't love it.
Does a Robin Lopez do anything for you? Like, do you think Lopez is an improvement over what you already have at the center position?
No.
Okay, so you really look at it that. So okay, would you agree that center maybe if there is a buyout, signing by the Sixers, are you willing to say the center position isn't your biggest need? If you're the Sixers,
I say center is my biggest need.
Yeah, like would you say that's the biggest need? Like if you're Daryl Morey, would you prioritize the center position or would you try and look at, another 3 or another 2 guard, for example? Like what are you prioritizing if you're him?
I know this might be a cop out. I'm prioritizing like, hey, who's the best buyout option on the market?
And you'll just fill them in.
I'll
figure them out.
Right. I'll just fill it in. But like in terms of that, I mean, I guess I'll be looking just for somebody maybe else with some size. Like I said, Favors is a good name just for some size. I mean, he's not gonna, he's not gonna be Derrick Favors of old, but he can give you a little bit, right? So I'm just looking for something like that.
Yeah, and I know
makes sense. Like that's all you're gonna get, right? That's like the best possible name is Derrick Favors, and again he's 6'9", 6'10". So you're the guys you already have in Millsap, B-ball Paul, and Bazley are all like 6'9". So you're literally getting like the same type of size. You're not getting that. Like those guys probably protect the rim, not Millsap at this point, but the other 2 guys probably protect the rim better than Derrick does at this point of his career.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so you're not like, that's the problem. The best buyout guys are the guys that like, you're like, oh shit, how did he get bought out? Right? Like a Schroder, like I can see how he gets bought out, but then also like, okay, that's a guy who can come give me 15, 20 off my bench, right? Like that's something that can really help me. Any of the other names, like Gary Harris can't help. Gary Harris is the name I love. Okay. But that's it. And Derrick Favors, maybe. And I always love Derrick's game, but I don't know if none of this puts you over the top. Mm-hmm. You're either there or you're not. And I feel like they're there, but they could also use one more significant buyout. Like it just can't be like these little Cantors and some of these names, Lopez's, not you, just like the names that are
No, I hear you. No, that's listen, you're not wrong. It's just dried up.
When did a buyout guy ever win a team a championship?
Well,
and okay, you Tucker won Milwaukee a championship? No, he just buyout. Yeah. Giannis won Milwaukee a championship. Middleton showing up in the postseason won Milwaukee a championship. They're just good additions, right? He was a good addition to be able to go and D up KD a little bit, right? And be that type of guy. So none of it's going to get us over the top, family. You either believe that this is a championship contender and they could use a piece, right? Like one more. You either believe that and say, hey, one more piece, I think maybe we can really win it all, right? You're either there or you're not.
Well, I think the biggest difference maker, right? And we talked about this right before we went on the air. I didn't give you the name, but I think there's a name outside of the obvious, the Hardens, the Embiids, the big 3 or big 4 as we talked about, that I hate throwing around the word X factor because I feel like that's overused. But really, when you talk about the depth of this team, whether he's in the starting 5 or whether he's somebody off your bench, I honestly think, and this could end up being really bad because we've seen very limited parts of him this year, and when we've seen him, he hasn't been very good. I think Danny Green figures it out and has some kind of resurgence for a week, for 2 weeks in a playoff series. I think that could be gigantic for this team. I really, truly do. And again, whether that's him starting at the 3, which I don't love any part of Danny Green, but I would put him in the starting lineup right now, as I think you would, Tom. Correct? Like between him and Matisse.
Yeah, I think that's the name that nobody talks about because he's like hot and cold, but he's another veteran who's been down this road before and has made big shots, and nobody can run from that. And I think it's a good name.
Yeah, like because really he has been for a majority of the season, he's been like an F minus. He's either hasn't been there, and when he has been there, he's been just a guy. And again, I'm not betting on, I don't think anyone's betting the chances that he has like a resurgence, right? But he's somebody with a lot of playoff experience that Tom touches on a lot. He gives you that perimeter defense, or at least he used to. And also, he's another viable shooter that could really thrive next to an Embiid who's double teamed and a Harden who's double teamed. Like, there's going to be a lot of kickouts to Danny Green. And I know he's kind of resorted to, okay, he's just going to stand in the corner and shoot. And most of the time, they're going to be bricks. But if he can have a week, I'm not saying a playoff run, if he can have a friggin' series where he looks like Danny Green of old, that's gigantic, especially when you consider the fact that last year, against the Atlanta Hawks in the second round, you didn't have it. So
remember we lost them. That's
Yeah.
funny you said that because we lost them, and then we ended up losing the series. So very interesting events that happened there, and that's why I say to everybody every year about Danny, like, people want to run him out of here. They do it everywhere he's at. Probably Lakers fans were doing. Everybody like Danny, and then he just finds himself on a team that wins it, and you're like, well, how? And it makes a couple big shots, and you're talking about a guy who's going to get a lot of looks and wide open looks, and he's a pro. And he's a pro at making them in those types of spots. And to me, I think that's a great name to use. And if he's a starter or a bench guy, it doesn't matter, because I feel like he's going to be playing in those last 7 minutes of basketball games, right? I just feel like you're going to see Danny on the court in those minutes. And I'm telling you, that starting five, we've done this before around here, but it's arguably a top five starting five in the NBA.
If Danny Green is on, I think based off of fit, I think it's extremely good. I think it's extremely good because, again, everyone's like, oh, well, you've got two ball dominant guys. Stop. You said the same thing in Brooklyn. Everybody said the same thing in Brooklyn. Everyone said the same thing.
Dominant guys. In what? Joel and Harden?
That's what everybody says, like the Barkleys of the world. And I don't necessarily, I somewhat respect Barkley's opinions a lot.
Okay, well, my question to you is, did the Warriors for years?
I was just going to say that. Like, we heard the same thing. And they were one of the greatest teams of all time.
Everybody in the league that puts these things together are ball dominant guys, right? So can you make that work? Well, if you have unselfish ball dominant guys, and James Harden comes into this saying, hey, I'm going to get Joel his touches early, get him going, get him feeling good, I'll get mine, right? Then everything's going to be okay. As long as that's the case. And I really believe that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
I don't understand, you're not teaming up two perimeter players together where they're like, oh, like, who's going to bring up the ball, right? Like, you're teaming up the best big man when he's going like this, man. I don't know if I've ever seen a better big man. So, and I know that's like, wow, Tom, that's high praise, and I get it because I'm a big man junkie, right? I'm Uncle Big Man. I love a big man that can dominate, right? I love the great ones. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody with this kind of skill set. And then you got a guy who's a two guard / point guard, combo guard that can dish the basketball, right? Can shoot the basketball, can take guys off the dribble. I mean, if that's not the perfect marriage, like, that's why I don't understand what Chuck said. Like, if that's not the perfect marriage, Chuck, I don't know what is. Like, I just don't know what is.
I think he lets his hatred for Harden get in the way a little bit because
a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
What was my opinion on Harden last year, Ryan, when everybody in this city wanted to trade Ben for him and I wasn't there yet?
Oh, black hole.
Yeah. I was like, I'm like a hot and cold on him. Mm-hmm. I just don't know how I feel totally about him, but I can never run from the fact that he's an elite scorer. and Kenny said it on that broadcast too, something we talked about. And Shaq's sitting right there. I mean, nobody's saying it's Shaq and Kobe, but I'm telling everybody this is what happens.
Well, if people aren't willing to go to Shaq and Kobe, can we at least go to Dwayne Wade and Shaq?
Sure. Yep.
Like, can we at least, if they're not going to go all the way there, which I get it, two of the the best guard center tandem of all time, I get it. But if you're not willing to go there with it, at least go to D Wade and Shaq in Miami. At least go there.
And guess what? This Embiid would eat that Shaq up. Okay. the Miami Shaq, all right? But that Wade will probably eat Harden up. So, that's the way you look at it. Because that D-Wade was a problem, right? Shaq was more at the end of his career in a way. Still dominant, because Shaq was, in my opinion, the most dominant big man of all time that I've watched, right? You don't get more dominant than Shaq, but the point is this is close to that. And at the end of the day, it's close to the fact that, I mean, this isn't close. This is what it is. I mean, when you have a big man and you have guards around him that are special, things happen. And the other guard around him that's special, sort of goes by the wayside and not gets talked about as much, and that's Tyrese Maxey. So, when you have great, I know we started to show off on this, but when you have great guard play and a dominant big man, shit, y'all didn't watch basketball long enough if you don't know what those end results become.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And if it's not this year, it will be next year.
Yeah, it's a 2 to 3 year move in the least, at least.
Yeah, I would say 4. I'm just a 4-piece with it. 4 years. You have 4 years. 4 years. How many can you win?
Yeah, I hear you. I don't understand. And again, maybe we're looking at things wrong. Maybe there's something we're missing. I don't think so, though, because it's not like you're bringing in another guard to pair along with a guard, right? It's like they're not playing the same positions. They can feed off of each other. They're going to be going to the line even more. They're both extremely capable foul shooters. It's not a Ben Simmons situation. So it's like, oh, you want to force us to the line? Okay, fine. Be my guest. And also, guys are going to be in foul trouble even more, which is going to then have to change their approach when playing defense, especially in the playoffs. I don't understand. It's like, oh, well, Harden, he struggled in the past in the playoffs. And, Embiid struggled in the playoffs in the past. Well, they didn't have each other. Harden had his struggles in Houston, quote unquote, especially when Chris Paul was hurt, but nobody ever talks about that. That's because he was the only guy there. He's clearly not now. Embiid has had to save his team again and again and again and make up for other people's faults. He doesn't need to do that now. They're going to help each other and also take pressure off of each other. Oh, Embiid's having a bad night from the field. Oh, he's shooting, I don't know, he's 6 for 18 from the field. Okay, Harden, step up. Oh, Harden, you're not feeling 100%. Oh, you're a little bit cold from the field. Okay, Embiid, go eat. And again, to your point, Tom, I'm not even equating what Tyrese Maxey and Tobias are going to do while not double teamed. Tobias Harris, the last 2 seasons since he's been with Doc Rivers, has been double teamed more than he has not been. That is not an option anymore.
And why was that?
Well, one Mr. 25 Ben Simmons.
Yeah, the black hole in the court, so you can double everybody. You can double anybody that puts any bit of even a little fear into you, game plan wise, right? Now, who do you double on this roster? You gonna double Embiid? Now Harden's gonna go eat something, right? You gonna double Harden? I wouldn't do that. So I mean, listen, this creates major mismatch problems for other basketball teams, and if people don't see that, if people can't take a step back and realize how dangerous this basketball team is with the addition of James Harden, I can't help basketball fans. I can't help you. Listen, nothing's guaranteed, right? So, when I talk about going to the NBA Finals, that's where I'm trying to get to, right? Winning it, none of that's hard to do, right? But getting there should be what we're looking to do first. And this basketball team, with the addition of him, is a basketball team that, listen, that's where you should go.
Scott says, any chance Eric Gordon gets bought out? I don't think so, Scott, because he's got a couple more years left on his deal. The only guys that you would really look at, except for, there's crazy circumstances where guys will just eat the money and, they'll get bought out. But more often than not, it's guys with expiring contracts. So like Dennis Schroder, expiring contract. Gary Harris, which I saw it a couple times in the chat, and we talked about it on Wednesday. By all reports, the Orlando Magic doesn't want to buy him out, and he's actually fine with staying in Orlando. So it's a shame because, to Tom's point from earlier, like Gary Harris is one of the few guys, if not the only guy, that's like, oh, like you see he gets bought out and signed here, then that's like an ooh reaction.
Yeah, Schroeder gives you a little ooh. Oh, not ooh, but ooh, like in a way.
Yeah, like it gives you attention. You know what I'm saying? It gives you attention a little bit. But no, Eric Gordon, I don't think so, to be honest. Jacob B says, what do you guys think of the whole Harden contract situation? And if the Sixers are going to get another superstar? And is this Harris's last year in Philly?
Yeah, you know what, Jacob? I don't even want to do that yet. right? Like I'm for once here. Let's not you. It's a great question, right? Like it is, and I'll answer it because we always do. But like I don't even want to get there because like let's live in right now because now we're assuming that this isn't good enough, right? Let's go check out and see if this is good enough, and then we can make that decision in the offseason. But the one thing about his contract, I'm not even worried about it a little bit because there's been reports of him taking less money for 2 years and years 3 and 4. He whacks you over the head, right? And if not, he's going to sign the max here. So either way, James Harden's going to be here. Now, Tobias becomes a different situation, but then you would need James not to take a max and then trade Tobias. There's a lot that goes into that side of it too. But I think it's a wait and see conversation on what happens, right? Like let's see it and not assume it, right? That'd be assuming Tobias it doesn't come up big enough for us, right? That's right? There's a lot of assumptions there that aren't known yet, right? We're talking about not Tobias Harris having to be your second option. We're now talking about Tobias Harris having to be your third, fourth option on given nights. I mean, listen, I don't know what else. Like the guy's in a perfect role. I think the best people are saying Ben Simmons made out the best in this deal. That's a lie. The player who made out the best in this deal, like I've seen this all over. People talk about because he's playing with Durant and Kyrie, right? The player who made out the best in this deal is Tobias Harris. I just want everybody to be clear with that. This is why I didn't want to trade him yet, right? This is why I said nope, because I'm not getting anything back that's good enough as him right now. Now, he fails, Jacob, right? And then we go into the postseason. Harden's willing to not take the max, trade Tobias, and then you can bring in a max, right? Then you're allowed the freedom to have 2 maxes. That's a different conversation. But right now, you're only allowed to have 3 maxes of your own that are already with you that you can max out, or 2. So it won't work unless James says, okay, we need another star. Here, I'll do this, right? So a lot to figure out after the fact. But let's stay in the moment. This seems good enough to go cut nets down. So let's go try to cut some fucking nets down.
I think we talked about it with Chrome on that Wednesday before the deadline that it would be the most Sixers thing in the world to trade Tobias Harris away from the first situation he would have in a Sixers uniform where he can truly be the third option. Because he didn't have that luxury with Simmons.
No,
he didn't at all.
The fourth.
Yeah, or fourth.
Yeah. All I've watched is Tyrese Maxey in 1 year get better than Ben Simmons did his entire career. Entire career.
Do you think
Tyrese Maxey was the #1 overall pick of the draft? We would all be happy with his development.
Of course.
You understand? The other #1 pick of the draft never developed.
Well, they did a redraft. I think it was Bleacher Report the other day for Maxey's draft. You know what pick he went in the redraft?
What, 5?
4.
Okay.
So that tells you.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's all something, it was talked about on draft night. Tobias and Maxey aren't really catch and shoot, though. So not really sure they will excel with Harden.
Tobias is.
Bench unit, yes. They both can catch and shoot.
That's all he did. That's all he did in Los Angeles. That's all.
We're just assuming. Maxey can't get better at things. Like I'll never say he can't do something, Jimmy J. Just watching the kid get better. Just watching him get better. I don't know nothing he can't get better at.
And Maxey actually talked about this over the weekend too. He said that, I'm glad and I'm actually thankful that this offseason I worked on my catch and shooting ability because, one, I didn't know if I would have to do that. He said I planned along to do it with Ben because obviously Tyrese wasn't planning on being the point guard on ball all the time, so he was planning on being a 2 guard if he was in that starting role. But he said it also is going to help with James Harden because this is why his perimeter improvements are going to be so important because he doesn't need to be on ball all the time. And also, sure, he has that ability to be the catch and shoot guy, and he continues to improve with that. But on the flip side, when James Harden is driving the lane and then he kicks it off to Tyrese Maxey going 1,000,000 miles an hour, that's also something that he could do that we didn't have the luxury of in the past.
Yeah, and real quick, one bill. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to cover when you have two great guys, especially when options 3 and 4 can score. So you can't just say, okay, if you just have 2 great guys and tomato can city, then you can double. Calvin Tobias was the third option with Jimmy. And Calvin, I'll stop you there because we talked about that. But the problem was you had the black hole, which was Ben Simmons still. So your offense was never going to be as good. If you just replace Ben Simmons that year with any other player, they beat Toronto. I'm dead serious with you. Any other player of top 40 caliber, they beat them. Top 40 caliber, they beat them. So that's not anybody. I don't think anybody special. They beat them. All right.
Can we go in a friggin' time machine and put Tyrese Maxey on that roster, please? Good God. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that possible?
Yeah, we definitely beat them.
Yeah.
Triplet, how do they remind you of the Celtics teams when Kyrie was on the team? How'd they do? What big they have? They have the best player in basketball, and he was also 7 foot. Like, because that's why you can't. This is the problem out there. I'm trying to tell people, Triplet, you can't compare this basketball team to the stuff you like. Oh, it reminds me of this team, unless they have a generational best player in the game, big man. You can't compare it.
That Celtics team had all perimeter strength and no interior strength. What is he talking about? They had Horford. And Horford, yeah, I understand he used to eat Embiid's lunch. I get it, but no, it's not comparable at all.
Mark says to be Toby, to be honest, is best when he catch and shoots.
Yeah, he did in Los Angeles.
Fans, we hate when he dribbles the ball. Maxey also shooting probably close to 40% from 3. We'll be fine, and that's where I stand.
Yeah, Mark, you touched on it perfectly. He did it in Los Angeles all the time, and he doesn't have that luxury here, especially when Ben Simmons wasn't here in this short amount of time. He's too slow when he's on ball, and he's too slow and he's not aggressive enough. If he was aggressive like he is, if I had a penny for every time if you and I have talked about this on shows, Tom, to where in the first half you see aggressive Tobias Harris when he's on ball and he's dribbling and he drives the lane and he finishes strong, right? Like, it's really good. But then he goes into passive Tobias, and then he pulls up and he has all these short little, I don't even know, like these mid-range shots instead of taking the extra 2 steps and finishing strong. If we saw an aggressive Tobias Harris, that would make up for the fact that, yeah, he's really friggin' slow.
Right. This is what we were saying. Like, you just bring somebody in that's a legit second option, and it's a wrap if you don't have to trade Tobias or Maxey, right? It's a wrap. And this is exactly what happened, because even people that aren't Sixers fans can realize the greatness they're watching of Joel Embiid right now. And most basketball junkies, again, when they see a big man dominant, and I'm going to go back to when we drafted Joel Embiid, and something I said when I've talked basketball feels like for a million years, right? It's been 7 on air, but for a million years prior to that, big men win championships, 2 guards sign shoe deals, right? And that was, unless you were Mike, right? And that was like before LeBron, right? And then get LeBron and Seth, right? Like, okay, great guys like that can win you championships, like all-time greats at the guard, small forward, 2 guard, right position can win you chips if they're great, sure. But in our history watching basketball, big men win chips. Dominant big men win chips. And this is sort of what I said on draft night when we got him. Before, you think he's going to, you assume he's going to be special because you drafted him 3 overall, right? So you're hoping. So I said, like, big men win chips. And it was just wait to see him play. And as soon as he started playing, you're like, okay, wow, right? And you're like, this is the kind of guys that win chips. And we had to be patient because we're watching a young player grow who also started playing basketball at 17. We're watching a young player grow. And you remember me saying this on shows, like, young guys usually don't win chips in this league. It's not like how it works. Now he's 27. We're now witnessing the best basketball he's played of his career because he's coming into his prime. And now you team that up with a guy that not in his prime anymore, but right there in his prime, in my opinion, and is going to have some agendas to settle in James Harden. Man, this is special. And then you got guys like we watching Maxey get better right in front of our eyes, right? And then Tobias can just be Mr. Consistency. Mr. Rudy Poo, $5 super chat, says Nets fan think Ben is Giannis, the Aussie freak. I can't wait for them to find out. Mr. Rudy Poo, we appreciate the super chat. And yes, they're now trying to, Nets pages and social pages, they're looking for things, right? So now they're doing what we did, right? Like, he doesn't have to shoot. Like, look at all these other numbers. Okay, we've made that mistake here. So time's yours.
They're comparing him. Oh, he's going to be a younger, better Draymond Green. First off, that's funny. Second of all, you know what Draymond Green has that Ben Simmons doesn't have and probably never will have? I was going to say a set. A set?
Yeah.
So stop. Stop we found a bigger, stronger, faster Draymond Green. First off, prayers that he actually shows up for you. Second of all, stop. Just stop.
Yep.
Just like, I understand Draymond is extremely, like, I don't want to say extremely limited on offense because there's a lot of things he doesn't do that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But to compare this guy and say, oh, the day one, his floor is Draymond Green, but more athletic. Can we stop? Please. And this isn't like the hatred. This is just having eyes. Yes, exactly, Calvin. Draymond has so much more heart than Ben, and that's why he's been successful his whole basketball career. Yeah.
He doesn't have like that ego of like the Ben ego. Like he'll play anywhere you want him on the court. He's not going to bitch and moan. He's just going to go to work and do all the little things. Like, okay, yeah, that's special. But he was also surrounded by the two greatest shooters that we've witnessed in like 2 decades, or like maybe our whole lives. Like nobody's witnessed what Steph and Clay could do, right? Like nobody ever did that, right? And then the league tried to copy it. Does not working, but the league tries to copy it. But that's like nobody ever did that. So he's just a guy that was perfect for what they'll allow those two to do what they do, right? How is Ben perfect? And the other thing is Draymond will shoot. Like, make it or not, he'll shoot. So he's not scared to shoot the basketball. We're talking about a guy who's scared, and the whole world knows it. So when the world knows you won't do something, the whole world's going to make you do something. So everybody out there tells me, oh, well, they won't sag on him now in the playoffs. What? What? That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to sag City on him. They're going to go double KD and sag on him and say, here you go, buddy, shoot. And he won't.
I also see these Nets fans being like, oh, no, it's fine because we'll put him in the dunker spot. Oh, like what Doc tried to do with him last year? Like that? Like, again, all these Nets fans, and again, I get it. We're drinking the propaganda, even though there's actually substance with ours, with James Harden. Like, we're looking at what it can be, and we're projecting what Harden can be with us. I'm sure they're doing the same with Simmons. But what the Nets are doing, they're looking at tape from like, you probably saw the same thing, Tom. The amount of times I've seen in Nets pages or on Twitter, people like talking about, imagine what this could be on the Nets. And it's footage of Ben Simmons in the summer league. Like, listen, I think it's foolish when people look at footage from Harden in Houston. Like that, I think is a little too much. One, because it was years ago. Two, that's not the Harden you're going to need here. But the Nets fans are like, literally, hold my beer. I'm going to try and equate Summer League 2016-17 Ben Simmons to the Nets.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you can go back and watch anything you want of him shooting a jumper. We've done it. It's outlandish to think that he's just going to all of a sudden do it. And if he does, good for him. I don't care. I got a star back, and I'm ready to go to work. Josh, I'm going to read your super chat in 1 second. We appreciate it, but we got over 180 people watching over on YouTube. Family, if you haven't, hit the like, hit the subscribe, stay with us. We have over 15 live shows. We bring you everything in the Philly sports world, the national sports world, and the gambling sports world. So we got you covered on all angles, a one-stop shop for everybody. And let me get a little Bet US read out here for the people because I want to be able to give back. And I'll get back to your super chat in a second, Josh. But Bet US is the leading online sports book who has been in the market for 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link pinned right in our comment section over on YouTube for 125% sign-up bonus, family. So if you got YouTube Premium, go do it right now. If not, then do it after the show because the link's going to be there. The link's not going anywhere. So that's our way of giving back. And we're also brought to you by FanUp, right? So not only are we handling you in the gambling world, but guess what? Go to FanUp for your fantasy sports needs, right? Download the app right on the Apple Store. Make sure you use our promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. $50 value right there. And you got daily NBA contests and more. So got you taken care of from all angles, fam. All angles taken care of. Now hit the damn like and hit the subscribe. Don't be a fraud tonight. Josh, $90, $10 super chat. We appreciate you. He goes, how do you feel about the Memphis Grizzlies? I feel like they are what we were back in 2018 season when we went back to the playoffs, but a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, they're dangerous. I mean, Morant's really good, and Dylan Brooks is really good. So I mean, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. I mean, I don't know how they're going to be in the West, but they're good. They're a good basketball team.
Yeah, I really give a lot of credit to that coach because I thought they would take a little bit of a step back this year, just because they really. I wasn't saying they needed to go out and make a ton of moves, but they're not flashy. Like obviously, you saw Morant, who's the definition of flashy, and he's probably going to end up in, the top 5 in MVP voting, and he's incredible. I think you and I, Tom, when he came out in that draft, I think you and I it was always like Zion or Morant. And we always, even before the Zion injury stuff, we kind of took Morant, like the side of that. You know what I'm saying? Like we were always more Morant guys than we were Zion guys. Even before, Zion with the 3 broken feet whole thing. Yeah.
Which Zion's a freak when he can play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Ja's the real deal, Holyfield, and he's a good basketball player. So I mean, they're dangerous when you got guys that are dangerous. This is what you get.
I know it's small, right? And we saw this.
I know Lance, real quick. I know Lance because I think he said Shake Million's name in this chat 5,000 times.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So Lance, listen, my thoughts on him, he's serviceable, right? Like he can give you double digits. There's nights where he's feeling good. There's no crowning a Shake Milton, but he gives you a guy who's been in the postseason, played postseason minutes, and give you some production. In the offseason, would you be looking to try to upgrade some of these positions? Of course. If the right guy comes in the buyout that can jump him, be my guest. But I think that either way, then he's going to play the 2, right? And if you go get a 2 guard, then he's going to play the point. So either way, you're going to see Shake Milton because you're not going to be able to do anything right now. After the year, again, I'll get to after the year when the year's over. Because for the first time in a long time, we shouldn't be worried about next year. We should be worried about going and winning something right damn now. Right goddamn now, family. We should be talking about right in the moment. All right, best basketball player on the planet and a top 10 right with him. And another guy creeping up to becoming an all-star. And another guy that's just pretty much the definition of consistency. Not great consistency, but just consistency. Tobias Harris gives you his numbers nightly. We talk about this all the time, right? Like he's not a max guy, but he gives you his numbers nightly.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with Tobias Harris is you get into trouble when you need him to bail you out. Well, at least on paper, you shouldn't need him to bail you out of anything now. Because you've got 2 guys way before him, and to Tom's point, sometimes 3 guys before him, depending on what Maxey's going to do for you.
Yeah.
Rudy.
Real quick, I'll get to Mr. Rudy because I don't want to miss comments, too. I want to get to him in a second. Elliot, what's our 8-9 man playoff rotation? Well, your bench is Shake. Your bench is going to be Shake, Niang, Millsap. There's 3.
And Tease.
And Matisse. So there's your 9.
And if I'm going one more, the furthest I'm going is another big. Furkan, I'm sorry. The only way I'm going to you is if I don't know if I'm going to you.
Well, I mean, if I put you in and you hit a 3, I'll stick with you for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just depends on how it's a feel thing as a coach. And you're right. Then maybe, another big, maybe you go, if you don't bring anybody in, you run Paul Reed for 5 to 8 minutes if you have to. Like, I mean, the energy's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt. Like, none of this is because again, who out there is the upgrade to it? Like as another big, like who? Like I said, Derrick Favors is the only name that somebody can sell me on out there. The rest are just fucking. The rest are shit fucking cans. Like they really are. Like they're guys like nobody wants.
Yeah, and at least with a Paul Reed, again, we said it on Wednesday. It's like watching a car accident, watching him play basketball.
Yeah, car accidents are good sometimes.
Yeah, well, he's a floor janitor. Like we talk about certain guys that are like they're floor generals.
Well, they're dog on the hardwood floors.
Yeah, I look at him. I look at Niang. They're floor janitors. Everything they do looks disgusting, but somehow they fill up a stat sheet.
Yeah, somehow. And he's not going to have to play like that because you got Millsap. And I know Robert said, I don't know how I feel about Paul. I just will take a chance on him because he's a veteran. He's played in the postseason. He doesn't have to give you 25 minutes a night. You're talking about a guy, even in the regular season, can give you 18 to 20 minutes. And in the postseason, maybe giving you 15, right? Like, I think he's serviceable in that role. And I know somebody else said about Gary Harris. I would love him. But like Ryan said, there's reports that, he's good with just staying there, and they want him to stay there. Mr. Rudy Poo, Super Chat, Nets fans. Ben couldn't shoot threes because Embiid was clogging the lane. Comedy, fellas. Yeah, it's hysterical. It's Embiid's fault. It's Embiid's fault that Ben never shot.
Two-time MVP candidate that actually plays. But, no, it's his fault.
Here it goes. Here comes that.
I saw it.
Well, you are watching. So what does it matter, Greg? You said last night that you're not watching the Sixers, which is the most outlandish comment of all time. Now, I don't care who you bring in. I don't care if it's my most hated athlete around, I'm still going to be like, all right, I'm going to watch the Sixers.
I just want to say this.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you,
Lance. Thank you, Lance.
Appreciate you.
I didn't catch any of your show last night, but I received 2 texts, right? Which shows the growth of A2D because people were texting about the show last night. Both of them said, did Greg really say he's not watching the Sixers because of James Harden? So I meant to ask you that at some point on the show, but you already brought it up, which is perfect. So he actually said that. He said he's not watching?
Listen, he got taken to the woodshed last night. So, he had no answers in terms of like, well, then who would he want over him that was out there? Like, you know what I mean? He had no answers. He's letting his agenda. This is what I'm trying to tell people. People out there are letting their agenda get in the way of something that can be really special. And I think that's what people are missing. Like, again, I don't go run around crowning Harden, but he's still a top 75 player of all time. He's still going to be wearing a gold jacket or whatever jacket they put on. And at the end of the day, he can flat out score, and he's paired with somebody he's never been paired with before. But Greg's big reason is, well, the pick and roll game won't be as good because Joe doesn't cut to the basket. That's Greg's biggest concern. So I can't speak for him because this is what he said, but I'm not gonna talk anymore about Greg because I can't. I love him, but he's not watching, so it doesn't matter. Keys. Appreciate the super chat. What's up, my brother? I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. He said, been a while, fellas. Always listening. Just been super busy to participate. Listen.
Thank you, Keys.
Participation is just extra, Keys. We love when you guys are commenting in. But we understand if you can just listen, we take that too. Everybody out there, if you haven't already, pound the damn like over on YouTube. All right, and hit the subscribe if you think this Sixers team can go win a championship. Let's go. Let's get some excitement in this city. Because this is the best station for your Sixers coverage there is out there. All right? Philly sports coverage, period. And we got everything for you. So pound the damn like. No, Sam, we're not starting Niang. Why? Your starting 5 is settled. It's settled in my eyes. The only time I would ever Matisse. The only guy who sneaks into it is Matisse.
The only time I would ever consider it, and I'm not saying I'm just saying consider it, is if we play the Bucks. And I would start him at a 3.
Or the Nets.
Yeah.
Or the Nets. Like maybe. Or I do what I do. There's going to be times where it's done, and there's going to be times where Danny starts. Listen, either way, either one of those guys are good guys to have off your pine.
And the one thing with Korkmaz really quick, the only time, like my hatred aside, the only time I would ever put him in a game, and this is likely to happen because of his inconsistencies this season, the only time it would make sense to put him on the floor is if Danny Green is struggling. Because at least he gives you a threat of a shot, right? He's probably not going to make it, but he at least gives you that threat. But other than that, there is no reason to put him on the floor.
Well, I mean, listen, I think there might be games and times where he gets some minutes, and if he's making shots, then fine. You know what I mean?
He's going to see it, right? Because we know Doc Rivers' love affair, like for Furkan. I'm just saying that, like, if you and I could get in Doc Rivers' head a little bit, I think you and I would play him a lot less than what he's actually going to see.
Nobody's tripling. Nobody's saying you don't need a bench, but there's enough. There's like enough like little production you can get off the bench. Like there's nobody in the buyout that's going to make you great right now.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Like, okay, if Gary Harris comes available, it's great. If Dennis Schroder comes available, great. Like I'll take either one. But they like again, it doesn't change my opinions on this basketball team. Like this bench is fine, right? Because you're going to get so much scoring from your starters.
He says, you guys think because we have Harden, Doc Rivers won't start a full bench lineup. Well, you're going to be in for a shock. Triplet, I swear to God, 3 minutes before we went on the air, Tom and I talked about the same thing. He did it in Los Angeles. We know he's going to go to it. That's one of our biggest criticisms of Doc Rivers is that he harps on what he did in Los Angeles, but he forgets, oh, wait, in L.A., I had Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell. We don't have those guys here. So they could lean.
I think you're going to get a top-notch player or two with every bench unit. Like I think you're going to see maybe Tobias and Maxey with bench units together. Like you know what I mean. You're going to see mixes and matches. I'm not overly worried about it because I have 2 stars, and then I have 2 really good basketball players behind those guys. And if those guys are giving me the numbers that they can put up a night, I'm in great shape. Right? I mean, just do the math. I'm in great shape. So can I get a little bit more production? Right? Can Shake give me double digits? right? That's the big one. Can Shake give me double digits? I think Shake can. He's proven that. He's proven that in his career. Like, I'm not crowning Shake Milton, but he's proven he can give you double digits.
Yeah, he's an 8th, 9th guy on a really good team. But again, to your point, Tom, those type of guys, I mean, he single-handedly won us game 2 in the second half against the Hawks.
Yeah, Jordan Niang can give you double digits off the bench. There's 2 guys who can give you double digits right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, I mean,
especially with a Harden. Like, we talk about how Danny Green's going to flourish with Harden because you're kicking it out to him. Niang's the same thing, if not better.
And I think, like, Doc's going to know, okay, if they don't get some pieces in the buyout, like, he might go a little shorter, or he might run, like I said, he might run Harden with a bench unit at times, right? Run Joel with some bench guys at times. Like, he's gonna mix and match it. It's not going to be like, hopefully it's not missionary, right? Hopefully it's not sub and 5 other guys, because then that's a joke. Like he did other years where he did 4. I think now he can only do 3. Like, I think he has to shorten to 8, maybe 9. Maybe he can go 9, but that's his max number. He can't go more than 9 guys.
I agree.
I don't think he will either. Like, on a night. Like, I don't, depends. If you're blowing somebody out, maybe you see 10. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right? If you're getting blown out, maybe you see 10. But I think on most nights, you might get a different 9, right, Rye? Like, you might get a Furk over, I don't know, right?
Over Matisse if he gets in foul trouble. You know
or just, you don't need his defense. You need a shooter, right?
Or you might get B-ball Paul over Millsap. I hear what you're saying. The one name I see a lot ever since he was reinstated, I don't know what kind of guy he's going to be as far as a player. I just want to ask you because everyone's like, oh, well, he's a really good scorer. You can get him now. Does Tyreke Evans do anything for you?
Who? I like Tyreke. Okay, but like, again.
Listen, I was asked 3 times to bring his name up on the show today, so I'm just here for the people. I laugh at that name because
there's 2 names. There's 2 names. There really is 2, and maybe you can give me a third. Okay, the 3 names we can talk about in buyout wise are Gary Harris if he gets bought out, then a Schroder if he gets bought out. Right? Okay, obviously Eric Gordon. Right? We don't think he's going to get bought out. So, right, your only other third is if Derrick Favors gets bought out. That's the only names that I'm even interested in. The rest of it, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Like Tyreke Evans 4 years ago, sure, I'll take a flyer on him.
You know who I wish was available? And I was thinking he was going to be, but he would have already been bought out. When Tristan Thompson went to, and this will get Greg to watch.
No, I like Tristan Thompson. That's the name we talked about. People aren't liking. There's 200 people watching, 54 likes. I mean, come on. Even if you're not a Sixers fan, pound the goddamn like, hit the subscribe, stay with us, stick around. We love to have you. Water's warm here.
It wasn't Tristan Thompson. Like, I would want him, but when Tristan Thompson went to the Bulls, I think to myself, okay, well, they already have Vuk. If now you have Tristan, I'm thinking in my head, Tony Bradley going to get bought out? But obviously he's not because it would have already happened. Yeah. But like that's a name where, you know what I'm saying, the ghosts of Sixers past. I'm like, I could play that game. So Tony Bradley.
Why does hold on real quick? Why does he have to play? Okay, 38 minutes. Why is that so crazy to think when you're not even back-to-backs? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not back-to-back nights. So some nights he's not going to have to play that. Some nights he can play 35. So Jimmy, you're talking about 10 to 15 minutes. Can that change a basketball game? Sure. But I'm putting in a veteran in his place. Who out there is better going to give you better production or minutes than Paul Millsap? Who on the buyout market's giving you that right now that's available? You know what I mean? Who? I mean, again, I think Derrick Favors is that name. I'm going to keep saying Derrick Favors. I think that's a name that if he comes available, that Daryl Morey is going to get done. Like, I think that's the most veteran name that's even serviceable anymore. Like, serviceable that can actually play above the rim a little bit, rebound the basketball, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for guys who come in and board. So that's the name I'm going to say that I have no sources to this, but that I believe that name's going to be brought in here.
So do you think – so this is one of the questions I was going to ask you, Tom, that Daryl talked about in the last week. So John says, where's the player Morey was talking about that he was annoyed they can't announce yet? Because he was saying that there was a buyout big man that was imminent. And this was last week. And he said he was annoyed that it can't be official yet. So you're saying you think if you had to put gun to your head, that's Favors?
Yeah.
I think it's DeAndre Jordan.
Might be.
And I know what people were saying in the chat, like, oh, well, he worked really well with Harden.
Well, they're doing it because he's been with Doc before if they go that route. He's been with Doc. Again, you're talking 10, 15 minutes a night maybe. He brings you some size. Maybe he can protect the rim a little bit. But again, it's not anything that's overwhelming. It's just more of like, I guess what Jimmy's saying is like it's a real big. It's not another 6'9" big. Like that's where Favors sort of fits in the same way you have. So that'd be one reason for DeAndre Jordan. I don't think he can play anymore. But this is where you are when you're talking about buyouts. You're talking about guys that probably like another team doesn't think they can play anymore. And again, you're bringing guys in for like I'm going to keep reiterating it, 15 minutes in playoff time. 15 minutes. Guys are playing 35 minutes a night in the playoffs. So what do you got to make up for? 13 minutes? Like people are acting like you're making up for 30 minutes a night. Like you're not. You are not. It's nice to have some guys you can bring in that can give you serviceable minutes for 10 to 15. And I think you have those same guys on this roster. Like they aren't going to crown you. I'm not saying they're going to win you a championship. You got to win a championship by your starting five, by your stars. Your stars got to go win you a chip. The add-ons are just additions to help the process out, right?
This is another name. So Kane keeps bringing up Moses Brown, who's another buyout option for Oklahoma City.
I don't even know who the fuck Moses Brown is. No disrespect, Kane. I have no idea who Moses Brown is.
I think he was like a top 5 player coming out of high school. He was like big recruit and everything.
So that aged extremely well for him, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't. Again, like I think you and I, Tom, hate when people talk about they use the term raw, but that's all he is. Like he has no offensive game. He's a blocker, and he barely plays on Oklahoma City
on a bad team.
Favors plays over him.
Arguably has one of the best talent evaluators out there. So
I can't shoehorn him in and say like, oh well, he's going to be ultimately ready to be the answer behind Embiid. Like, yeah, if we were the 2016-17 team, like, oh, okay, here's a guy you can build with Embiid. All right. And I'm not going to say I would be mad if we got him.
I'm looking to build with Embiid next year, right? Yeah. I'm looking to say, hey, I'm like 20-something games away from the postseason right now, right? So I just need serviceable minutes from some guys. And come postseason, I'm all in the win. So, I'm playing Embiid 30, 35-plus minutes a night, right? Depending on the circumstance. So the following year is a year where I'm like, okay, let me go address it. Let me get another big in here to help us out for the entire year. So now I can play him 28 minutes a night, 30 minutes a night, right? And take it easy on him in the regular season. Make sense? Because if I'm playing him 30 minutes a night, he's scoring 30. So it's not even like a problem. So like he's the most efficient scorer of all time that I've ever watched. That's like Mike, maybe. Like I've never seen efficiency where a guy averages a point a minute. Like I just never is. There's my brother. Sean Spielman says, hopped on real quick to tell you and all A2D staff, congrats on the NFL draft news. Love you guys. Love you, brother. Been a day oneer. And yeah, we'll talk about some of that at the end of the show on what we got in the works here. Man, so 200 plus people watching on YouTube right now. I mean, look at you guys rushing.
Appreciate you, fam.
And there's no way you're all subscribers. There's just no way. So make sure you subscribe right now because it's not just us. There's 15 live shows plus on this channel. We're adding more. It's nonstop coverage, one-stop shop. All right, and make sure you use our promo link for BetUS pinned in our comment section and get yourself 125% bonus. All right, make sure you're doing that. If you're in the Levittown area, by Gleason's Bar, located 6700 Mill Creek Avenue, Levittown, PA, use promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online. Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com is where you can find them. And my buddy Sean Kling over at Araya Public Adjusting, if any damage to your home or property, we may be able to help. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact Araya Public Adjusting, 813-564-3364, and you can find them everywhere online. Hey, listen, we bring in people that are good people. That's a great guy, Sean, and his partner Al. They do a tremendous job. So if you're in need of any of it, go contact them and make sure you use that promo code link in our description to get 125% sign-up bonus over at BetUS.
Benny, we'll touch on that at the end, Benny. So just stay tuned for another handful of minutes. Before we get out of here, Tom, because I figure we would have fun with this because we're kind of just in waiting mode, right, for Friday. So it's kind of one of those weird weeks where we can't break down any games, we can't preview anything. It's kind of just like, all right, countdown to Friday. And fam, stay tuned for all of our shows, obviously, but stay tuned for Wednesday because we've got, what did we call it on the phone last night, Tom? Like kind of like a little flashback to like our quarantine shows where it's kind of just like a one-off show. We're going to be doing some top 5 lists,
top 5 moments, top 5 mistakes, top 5 this different stupid shit just to change it up a little bit so it's not the same conversation again Wednesday. And then obviously Friday, it all starts. And I know Sunday on Agree Disagree, they play 1 against the Nets. So either we'll be live for the game or coming to you after it. So, we'll have 2 games to talk about and then it'll start opening up, right? And then we're going to be able to talk about actually the product going on and not speculation.
And fam, one of the things which we've never talked about on any of the shows before, which we'll do on Wednesday, top 5 biggest what ifs in Philadelphia sports. Like what if certain things didn't happen?
What if just simple as what if Carson didn't dare?
That's going to be tough to beat. That's going to be
tough
to beat.
I don't know what beats it.
But so Daryl had a lot to say on podcasts. He was kind of on like his media tour after his crowning moment getting Harden, right? And he said something interesting, which I don't think we talked about. I know we didn't talk about on Monday last week and Wednesday. I want to put our conspiracy theories, our hats on for a second with our conspiracy theories because, and Chad, I want you guys to help us also. So he said on Cowherd's podcast last week that he was in advanced discussions with a Western Conference GM right before the deadline. And he had offered a first-round pick for said player, unknown player. And he knew that the GM was not willing to get rid of him. So he said for funsies, okay, I'm going to offer 2 first-rounders just to see if he would budge. And the guy said no. And he also said, listen, if I were to reveal this guy's name, anybody who plays 2K or any normal fan would say, why are you giving up 2 first-rounders for this guy? So my question to you guys is, whether you guys heard it last week or if you're hearing it for the first time, who do you think that player was?
That's so funny.
By all reports,
not your fault, but it's so vague because I mean, it could be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking know. It would have to be somebody that's not a max player, obviously. It would have to be somebody that fell into the money situation, which is probably under 10 million, I would assume. I mean, that's all I can think. Like, so it would have to be somebody in that, like it's obviously under the radar. I don't know. So
Cameron says Jalen Brunson. Pat says Wiggins. Jacob B says LeBron. N says Healed. Harrison Barnes. Robert says Diverse says Dame. Tyler Horton says Halliburton. You buying any of those names, Tom? Because there's a name that hasn't been mentioned amongst the chat, which I think it is.
No, I don't buy into any of those names.
I think it was DeJounte Murray. Because by his wording, he talked about how there was a lot of different options at the deadline that they kind of had to consider, and that they were pursuing this name until a couple days before the deadline, which makes me think, okay, if the Harden stuff didn't play out, if that was going to fall through, this was the name. I think it was DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, maybe, and that's probably why they said no, because Pop loves him, so rightfully so. Yeah, could be. I didn't know this, Mark. He mentioned the other trade, the one that fell apart 3-4 days before the deadline, appeared to be Bradley Beal. Interesting. Well, there was smoke there too, right? So, and then obviously he's not healthy, so that's probably why I would guess ventured why. But I think they just played other teams, especially like Sacramento in a way. People feel like Sacramento played us, but I think we almost played Sacramento Sacramento used us a little bit for values, right? Because they were able to get some bonus. So, I think we played them a little bit to try to get the value up for Ben Simmons to believe there was other teams involved.
Yep. And I know you had said to a commenter earlier that you want to just focus on this season, and I agree. I don't think the discussion should be had right now, at least full throttle. But everyone talking about like, oh, the Sixers are planning on making a new revamped Big Three. I think the clear name that it's going to be is Bradley Beal. I think that's kind of like, and I agree, Tom. I don't think I don't want to say it's disrespectful to Tobias Harris, but I do think we need to see how he plays along with Harden, both in season and postseason, before we just be like, oh, we're just going to send him to Oklahoma City for, a bunch of scraps just to cash dump him. But I do really buy into the fact that there is kind of a backup plan. There is kind of okay, we're going to pull the parachute and we're going to go into it. And I think because of all the projected free agents, I don't buy into Kawhi. I don't buy into Donovan Mitchell. I think the name that everyone looks at to pair along with Harden and Embiid is Bradley Beal.
Listen, maybe. I think the name that that not enough people are talking about is a guy that's already on this roster. And I'll continue to say that.
Oh, Maxey.
Yeah, I just will continue. You're going to continue to see growth. And with growth, put you in a conversation that I think he can get to. Now, is that a top player in the NBA? I'm not saying that. But do I think he can work himself into a top 25? Yes. Right? Borderline all-star? Yes. Do I think he can then work his way to an all-star? Yeah. And people are going to tell me, well, Tommy's young and this and that, right? But his development in 1 year is what I need to see. And that development was gigantic, okay? Gigantic on what we saw development-wise from this kid. And he only works. He only gets better. So that's why, to me, like, I'm not as worried about Tobias, right? Like, I'm just not as worried about it. Now, if you can get an upgrade to Tobias and you're still keeping Maxey here and you're getting a better option there, hey, I'm all in. You know what I mean? All in, baby. So, I mean, there's probably truth to that. Like, there definitely is, right? There was conversations about Daryl, and James talking about not taking a max early on, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's some crazy stuff that's being talked about. But at the end of the day, this basketball team's ready to win right now. And that's why, for the first time in a while, we should steer clear of what's coming next and stay right in the moment. And if the moment doesn't work for us, then guess what? Then we know we got to go make something because we got to win in that after this year, in that 3-year window, right? We have to win championships. So, I think they're going to do everything in their power as an organization to make sure they put themselves in a position to win a championship. And I think James Harden was the first step to that. And I would assume there's only going to be more because when you have stars, other guys follow. When you have a guy of Joel Embiid's caliber, guys gravitate and want to play with it. Unlike one guy who didn't want to play with it, guys gravitate. Real winners want to play with other guys that can win.
We'll end on this question on the Maxey thing. He says, does the organization feel that Maxey can be where he needs to be in a few years along with Embiid in his prime? And I'll just answer it real quick before Tom goes, Jacob. I completely think they do because, one, in an organizational sense, they wouldn't have made him untouchable like they did if they don't believe in him as a player now and in the future. And Doc said this, I know, when he's going on the dial and had interviews. He's talked about it in post-game pressers, that he keeps using this one line, which I think is a great line from Doc. He's coaching Tyrese Maxey not only based on the player he is now, but the player he's going to be. So he knows that the sky is the limit for that type of kid and that type of player, whether he's a starting point guard, whether he's a shooting guard, whether he's a sixth man, whatever he is. And to Tom's point, because I hear it all the time that, when we talk about the sky's the limit for Maxey, nobody's saying like we're going to stamp it that he's a top 5 player in this league. But I think to Tom's point, and I think you would agree, if we can get him in with and I'm not comparing the players, but what would you say DeJounte Murray is in this league? Top 20, top 25, top 30?
Yeah, somewhere in there, top 30.
Can we get Tyrese Maxey for a majority of his career to be in that range? That's a friggin' win. And I truly believe that he can be there.
Well, especially if he's playing with those two guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's what other people are missing. Like, he's playing with those two guys. It makes his life easier. It gets him easier opportunities, right? And when you have that speed, and this will, I talk about draft night. When you have that kind of speed, that translates right away, right? It just does. It's like one thing, like what translates right away, and they're like, well, my God, if you can go right by people, then it's a win, right? Like it translates right away. So can you get your shot better? He has, right? Can you be a pro? He is, right? When you constantly work, and I don't like people are talking about his window and can he be great in the window of Embiid? Yes, absolutely can. Absolutely can. I think we're gonna see more and more of it. Because he's gonna grow with these guys. Like he's gonna grow with the vets. He's gonna grow with the leadership on this basketball team. Sky's more than the limit for this kid. I mean, he can easily be an all-star in a year or two.
Lord Walker, how are we impatient? How is A2D impatient?
How am I impatient? I'm saying that you're built to win right now. You're built to win a championship. I'm not looking till next year.
Haven't Sixers fans been the definition of patient with the process?
Yeah, I don't know how we.
I don't know where impatient comes in.
I think the impatience came with Ben Simmons, but I've yelled and screamed on these airways even about Ben, right? More about Joe. But I mean, how many times I said it on tonight's show already that you don't win in this league until you're a certain age. So even though we weren't getting where we wanted to get to, I kept it in perspective. I was mad, I was upset, but I always kept it in perspective. I always have. I've never not kept winning in the NBA in perspective, which means you have to grow, right? You have to grow. You have to take lumps, right? Everybody has. Everybody in the NBA has outside of Kobe. You know what I mean? Outside of Kobe Bryant, because he came in and got to go with Shaq, right? Outside of Kobe, everybody else had to take lumps. Come on. You can't talk to me about a team that sat through purposely losing and us clamoring for draft picks every year as an impatient group. Forget A2D. Just talk about this fan base. I think now we're trying to win. We waited so long and we're promised on so many things that now it's like, do you blame us for wanting to win right now and being all in to do that, whatever it takes? That's not fair.
And the Australian thing, I hate even saying his name. So like the Australian thing, impatience is not even like that's a moot point now because he took himself out of the fold. Like he went home. So it doesn't matter like how we asked him after 5 years to actually, shoot a basketball or make a layup. Like that doesn't matter. Like, sure, we said those things. If that's impatient, then I'm sorry. I guess we got to reevaluate how we look at sports.
And we got to win.
But like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day because he went home. He went home.
We have to win now. We have a great player. And Tyler, can he be? Yeah, I mean, that starts with cutting nets down. Right? That starts with being a champion. All the other numbers are going to be great, right? Can you be a champion? And not just once. Can you do it? Can you do it again? Right? And can maybe even do it again. He's playing at the level right now. There's nothing stopping him besides his organization for him to be winning it all, right? Like besides his organization getting in the way with it, when him being able to play with the three guys he's playing with, he is set up to win it all right now. Right now, over 3-4 years, he's ready to win. So can the organization put the things around him like they started to, right, to win? And after this deal, when you trade a guy like this and you get this back for him, if anybody questions, which we were, plenty of us, rightfully so, before the deal, if anybody questions the objective of this organization, I think you're crazy. Like, and I hate Joshua Harris. I'm talking about the basketball people. Like, if you don't think that they're trying to win it all, you're nuts. If you think Doc Rivers isn't here to try to win it and cut nets down, you're crazy. If you think Daryl Morey's not here for the same thing, you're crazy. Will it work? Time will tell. But again, when you have a dominant big man with two guards and point guards that can flat out score, I'll see y'all where we're going to see y'all. And that's a street called Broad. It's a street called Broad. I listen. You asked me my confidence level. You asked me all these things. Everything's a 10. Every fucking thing's a 10. And I haven't even seen the dude play yet. Haven't even seen them play together yet. It's a 10 because it fits. It just fits. If you watch basketball, it fits. Not enough balls to go around, huh?
It's the laziest argument in the history of sports.
Come on, we've said that about other teams. We said that about Golden State. Win. like we said it about them. When they got KD. Win. Come on, baby. If you believe it right now that this team's ready to win it all, and this is something special, hit the subscribe, hit the damn like, and stay with us. Enjoy the ride with us, because it's going to be a fun one. It is going to be a fun one because we have the best player on the planet, and he's not just a guard. He's the most dominant big man in the game and the most dominant player in the game, and that's facts. That's not Tom, you got an agenda because you're a Sixers fan. That's the facts of the matter. When you have that, and now you have the guard play to go along with it, night league.
There's not too many. There's been a lot of shows that we've done. There's not too many things that I've begged for, right? Like James Harden is something that I have, especially going back to last season. Like I stood on that island before all the Ben Simmons stuff and everything went haywire. I sat here when we were a 1 seed and I was clamoring for James Harden, not because I think James Harden is the best professional or anything, but because of the fit. So I have been able to, and I'm not the only one, so I'm not just saying me, but I have argued for this guy to go along with Embiid, and just forgetting about all the rest, how it helps Tobias and Maxey and all the other stuff, because that's how much I believe in the fit with these two, and that I think they were willing to put everything else aside when it comes to winning basketball games. So if for some reason this doesn't work, then listen, I'll put my hands up and say there is nothing I have been more wrong about in my time watching sports than this. But I don't think that's a conversation that we're going to have to have.
Harden. You can put any elite guard in there, and it's a fit, right? So you know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to tell people, it doesn't matter. It could have been Dame. It could have been right. It could have been other legit top 10 guards, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Any of them, it's a fit. It's a fit. You know why? Because this guy's going to make their game easier. So it's a fit. You're not pairing up two guards that are great. You're pairing up great perimeter with great guy who's a 5. I get, granted, he can stretch and he can do other things, but when he goes back to the basket, it's game over. It's game over. He's either getting fouled, right, or he's dunking on somebody, or he's getting a bucket, right? I mean, or he's getting a little Kobe fadeaway, right? Whatever he's doing, he's getting buckets. And when you pair up guard play that's elite with that, it's over.
Walker, I guess, elaborates on what he was saying. He says, my guy, I'm old enough to have seen the last Sixers championship, but also old enough to hear people who haven't. They're not patient. It's more like frustrated, and they're entitled to that feeling.
Well, frustration? We're entitled to frustration? Yes. We're Philly sports fans, Lord. We are factually born out the womb entitled to frustration. You know why? Because everybody before us has been frustrated. Right? Like, tell me what's not frustrating. I've seen 2 championships in my lifetime. In my lifetime, I've seen 2 championships here in Philadelphia. Two. Frustrated. Entitled to frustration.
And you know what's crazy, Tom? There's an age gap between you and I, but it's the same amount that I've. It's still 2. You know what I'm saying?
2. Frustrated. Entitled to frustration. Yeah, I would say that. So
it's championships followed by decades of mediocrity. Come on. Yeah, frustrated. Yeah,
listen, we love Lord, but he's wrong again, because he to me, I feel like he's Greg in this. Like, it's like Lord and Greg have like a burner together, and it's like, well, I like Ben so much, and if stayed by Ben's side so much, and I don't think any deal's good enough, right? Or I just dislike Harden, right? And then the deal's not good enough, and that's where like the agendas come in. Okay, that's where they come in.
Oh, Mike dropping on this. He says the last chip was 83. How long do you want to wait?
Well, listen, and this is coming from a Celtics fan. And Bill says Embiid is playing the best he's ever played, and honestly, he's the best I've seen in a decade. It's amazing how dominant in the paint he is, and on top of that, the fadeaway, the pull-up jumper from 3, and I'm not a fan. Right? So you understand that? So like when we're talking, there's no bias anymore, because your eyes are just like, I watch a lot of basketball. I watch a lot of dominant big men. The way he's playing right now, I don't know if I see anything better. I don't think that's like, it's not crazy. So buy in, family. Buy in.
Oh, and Lord, real quick, Lord, stop telling people on other shows that you're not getting the invite on shows. There's literally Fan Friday. Like that's literally the point of the show. So
Yeah,
stop,
you
stop
taking
going.
the state
Stop
side. I know
going.
it's different.
I saw him on Flight Zone last week being like, "Oh, Tom and the guys aren't giving me the invite." It's literally Fan Friday. Like there's literally a show. Like that's
Yep.
the whole point. It's the whole freaking point.
Yeah, but I know Lord wants to debate us, but I know your answer question. Whatever, you know what I mean? It's all good. I mean, I have opinions, but we're gonna be all right here. We're gonna be all right because it's time to win, and we have the best player on the planet.
You want to fill those guys in on the draft news? There's a couple people being like, "What? What's the draft stuff?"
No, I didn't see anybody say anything about draft.
Earlier, Benny was like, "Oh, what's the draft news for A2D?"
Sorry, I was reading something else. No, I mean, listen, we're going to be at the draft in Vegas, covering all rounds, and I know in the first round alone, we're going to have every player selected. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So it's exciting. I brought it up last night at the end of the show. It's exciting for everybody, and it's only it's a stepping stone to where we're going. Right. So come along for the ride if you haven't. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, stay with us. Vegas, baby. Vegas. My boy Joe right there. A2D in Vegas, baby. Master Life by Design. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So we're excited to go, excited to cover it. Not only from we've always covered it every year, but to cover it in that environment and being able to get guys come on here and talk to us about them getting picked and where they're getting picked at. It's fun, and then we're gonna have alumni being on in between those types of players. So we're gonna have tons of guests coming on with us. So looking forward to it. And anybody's welcome to come. Come hang out with us in Vegas. Come soak it in. I'm not gonna be able to get you on the floor, but soak it in. Besides that, soak it in. People still hammering Ben. It's great. I don't know. I mean, I might ask him if he's going to wear the glove, if he expects to continue the glove. He's going to ask him. I feel like that's a question. We're always built to be different, so I feel like I got to ask some tough ones, right? Like Kenny, I got a bigger question for you. You going to wear the glove here?
If we draft Sam Howell, Tom might storm the stage.
Yeah, that might be smaller than me. I mean, I'm 6'2". Sam might be Sam feel like he might be smaller than me. I'm looking down on him. Where was that? Yeah, for the draft, easy money. And Nate, you heard about it. You stop it because we've talked.
I like Master Life by Design's comment. He says, "Let's chip in some dough to make A2D the biggest group out there." Well, you know where you can help, fam? Yeah, check out that Bet US link.
Yeah, that Bet US link helps us out. Pin right in our comment section. You sign up using that code. It helps us out big time, and you get 125% bonus. But other than that, listen, you guys super chat. Become members. I mean, Joe's hitting me with a Venmo to help us get some stuff to take out there and help in any way he can. He's one of the best. He's one of the good ones out there. But it's good. Listen, if the glove don't fit, you got to go, Kenny. But yeah, come out there. Anybody that can make it out for the draft, come out there because we're going to be around. We're going to be around. We're going to be wandering.
I have some last second breaking before we head out.
What you want, Howard?
Yep.
Well, 5 games, right?
Suspended 5 games following Sunday's altercation versus Wisconsin.
Yep.
Now, will the Wisconsin coach get any suspension?
Probably not. He didn't throw a punch.
Oh, I thought he put it into him first. He was no. I mean, he didn't throw a punch, but I think
he was. I mean, he got maybe a little handsy. Like,
give him a game. Give him a game. Equal opportunity suspension.
Yeah. They probably will give him a game or two.
Give him a half a game. Give him something.
But it's gonna be interesting, guys, because then we're gonna we're gonna be interviewing the guys that we get. So we'll probably only make 1 pick now.
Howie will trade all 3 picks for Deshaun.
Easy money's in LA. He said, "I'm gonna see you there." Eagles take over Vegas, baby. Let's go. Anybody else that can come and enjoy the festivities with us, come on out. Because I hope a lot of A2D guys go. I think we can only have like 4 on the floor, but still, you know what I mean? You can sit in the freaking what do you call it?
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
stands.
You
Yeah.
can sit in the stands and watch it. We did it here in Philly. You know, you guys come enjoy the experience out there. I don't know why we're talking like everybody should be going. We should all be going. Every one of us should be out there.
That when we did the
So
Philly
much
draft, and we're out there with the friggin' phones, that feels like it was 10 years ago. Like sometimes I forget, like, oh my God, wait, we were literally in the middle of that. We were in the mosh pit. We were in the middle.
We were in the middle of it. Jay says Greg's not allowed to go.
I second that.
Well, he's still going. So, you know.
Well, I'm sure.
But if people want to donate and help out and get other guys to be able to head out there, you know, freaking feel free. Feel free. But you become a member right on YouTube, $9.99 a month. Get your picks from Nate Moss and Willie Vegas. Shout outs, invites on Fan Friday, Lord. All right. And then we're gonna have a really interactive show coming too, which you know is right up. It should be right up every member's alley. So become a member. You can find that right over on our YouTube. And make sure if you haven't, hit the like, hit the subscribe, stay with us. We were brought to you tonight by FanUp, and FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, NBA contests now, and you can win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. That's a $50 value. You can find FanUp right in the Apple Store, so make sure you go do that. Use the promo, get your kickback, family. Download the app. No brainer. We're also always, Manscaped's always a part of our show. And you can get 20% off and free shipping over at Manscaped with the code A2D. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Use promo code A2D. Get yourself 20% off. I mean, we're just circling the block. It's promo codes for days. And also, like I mentioned, BetUS. The link is pinned in our comments over on YouTube. So, and on Facebook, it's in our description. So both places you can find it. BetUS is a leading online sportsbook who's been in the market for 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link pinned right in our comment section for 125% sign-up bonus.
Sorry, I was laughing at Bailey's comment. He was saying, is Ralph allowed to go? Ralphie in Vegas, Jesus.
Yeah, I would love Ralphie in Vegas. I would love everybody in Vegas. Everybody should be in Vegas. You know, it should be a family affair. It's big for everybody, right? So even if guys aren't on the floor, it's still big for everybody, right? We still get to cover stuff. We still get to give reactions, but we're not even giving reactions here. We're giving reactions in Vegas. It's even better. Let's get out with the people. Let's soak one in. Let's raise the money. Get everybody out there. Okay, Habib, that's not going to happen. Okay, like Sixers don't win a title, but Ben's wins one. No, not going to happen. We're all right. That's Ryan Brutto. I'm Tom Arnone.
No, I have that in my head.
No, we're also brought to you by the Basketball Gods, who will not allow that to happen. So if you haven't subscribed to the Basketball Gods, make sure you do. Hit the like, hit subscribe. But listen, we appreciate every one of you, man. The chat's flying tonight. We thank you. We were only going to do like an hour and a half, so we went a little bit longer. But you do have just Brinks tonight on the Sports Hounds. Following us at 7:30. No Flight Zone tonight, programming alert. And anybody over on Twitch, we're going to be keeping our shows off of Twitch because we're going to go strictly gaming over there. So if you haven't subscribed to our Twitch channel, right, and you want to watch some gaming, make sure you go do that. It's A2D Radio. Go subscribe to our Twitch too. If you're not following us on all our socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the podcast forums, we're everywhere. There's not a place we're not. Even Twitter, if you care, you know. If you're a Twitter guy, go.
What is Lord Walker saying?
Go follow us over there.
I didn't ask to be on Fan Friday. I'm one of your longest paid members and asked to elaborate on times you post my chat comment that you tend to take. How do I take it out of context? We're reading.
Okay, Lord, listen. Next Monday, come on and we can have a conversation.
Yes, please.
Right? Done and done, brother. Done and done. No worries. All right, no worries at all. Lord, we love you. We appreciate that you're one of the longest members. That's why we read all your comments, even when we disagree with you.
Even when we take it out of context, even though we're just reading the words.
My whole life's taken out of context. So here we are. Sixers are going to win the title. We're out of here.